Hi there, welcome back to Bernina Club. During the last month we have had all the excitement of getting ready for the K facet machines that are coming into New Zealand. So because of that fact, we needed to make something out of the beautiful K facet fabrics. So in the last inspiration book that you received through Bernina Club, some of the staff had a look through and they found this really nice blouse called the Dotty blouse, this one here. And in all their wisdom, they thought it'd be perfect to make a summer blouse in the middle of winter for our K facet day. Fortunately, it was a really hot day and we were really busy. So all the staff you will see wearing our beautiful summer blouses later on when it's warm enough. It is certainly not today. And what we decided to do was just use part of the K facet for one side of the blouse and the collar, and then for the other side and the back we've just used a matching coloured fabric that we thought was really nice. And what is great about this top is it folds over and you can either have it running straight down or on an angle. The one thing I must say about the blouse, the sleeves were very full, so I've just put a cute little tuck in the front and back of the sleeve and finished it off with a button. So really easy. It took about an hour to make and you've already got this free pattern in your book called the Dotty shirt or blouse. And there's a short one and a long one. So on the other side you've got this one here as well. And this one's called Fabiana and it's a nice long cool summer shirt. So yeah, don't forget you've got these in your books and all the patterns are there and they're all free with the book. So the book was your last Bernina inspiration. So remember that cover and have a little bit of a look. And my next mission is to make this gorgeous little backpack on the back. I've got the fabric, I've got the pattern ready to go, I just haven't started it yet. So you might see this one in 2023 because I feel it's going to take me that long to get it sorted. Anyway, summer's coming. With summer means that Christmas is coming and trips to the beach are coming. So I've decided that I'm going to make all of my family an oversized beach bag. So this is my oversized beach bag. And it even has a little stud on the side here so you can make it smaller, and it holds a lot of stuff. So I have got 4 massive big beach towels in here. I could fit probably 8 big beach towels. I finished it off with the polyprop webbing. Now this webbing will never ever rot or do anything. The beautiful fabric I have used is our laminated Kiwiana fabric, and I'm going to show you the steps to make these. Now obviously you do not need to make them this big, you can make smaller ones or a tote bag, but I think they're just absolutely gorgeous. So this is one of the designs and I'm just going to plonk that down there. Here's another one of the designs, the same size bag. So this is another one of the designs and I've used white polyprop here. The one I'm going to show you today is the beautiful Kiwiana. So this one is the Pahutakawa. And the other one I'm doing, I'm just looking for the fabric that I've put somewhere really safe. I can't just, oh here it is here, behind me. And the other one I'm doing is the beautiful Pawa. All right. So this idea was taken off a really large shopping bag that you leave in your boot and you can put your grocery bags in it. But because it's so light and it's going to wear really well, and I can take it to the beach and the sand will just fall off it rather than stick to it, that is why I'm using the laminated fabric. So it's just a cotton fabric that's been laminated. Now, when you sew on laminated fabric, your normal feet can be quite sticky. So if you've got a walking foot, which I'm going to use today, you can use that because the teeth will feed it evenly. And if not, you can use a foot like this, which is Teflon. I had to think about that. So this is a Teflon foot. So the underneath of this foot is very, very slippery. So either or of these feet will be really, really, really good to sew the laminated fabric because it can be a little bit sticky. The other thing you can do if you've got nothing at home and you really want to do it is sometimes I put down the clear magic tape, which is that sellotape, but it's a real easy pull-off one. And you put it on there and you sew over it. The only thing is you've got to pull it away from the stitches. So it's a little bit more work, whereas the Teflon foot or the walking foot will just be nice and smooth. Okay, so I've given you all the size of the bag. And so what you will have is, you will have a front and a back, which will be exactly the same size. And you'll have 2 side pieces. All right, so I'm just going to show you how to sew the sides to the front, and then I've got one that's completely finished on that part of it to show you the binding, and then I'm going to show you how to put the base in because every piece will be exactly the same. So we want to join the front to the side, and then the side to the front, and then the front to the side and the side to the front, so we end up with a full bag. All right, so I'm going to show you that now. So I'm using my walking foot. If you're going to be using your Teflon foot, you're doing about a 1 centimetre seam. So I'm just leaving my foot on and using the foot width as my seam. Okay, so I don't ever use pins. So what you want to do is you want to use clips. So you simply clip your side seams. So you're never using pins because you don't want to put holes in your fabric. And I've got a normal 80 needle on. You don't need anything heavy. In fact, you could probably use even a finer needle, but you are going to be sewing through a few layers shortly. So I'm going to put my foot down and have a look. And if I measure that, I want a 1 centimetre seam. I'm going to put my needle position. One moment. With my walking foot, 2 clicks to the right. And I've got my normal stitch length of 2.5 on, and I'm just going to sew my side seam. So you can see the walking foot just feeds your top and bottom layer nice and evenly. I'm not really doing anything but guiding my work. Cut the thread. So there's my seam all done. And then I'll just put this one onto the other end so you can see. And they're all upside down, inside out. You don't have to worry about how they are going to finish. So again, just clip and clip. The clipping's only just really to hold it for a few minutes. Once you start sewing, it's going to feed it evenly anyway. These are just a really fun bag. And I've been asked to do a few towels for one of our family members, so the bag will be very handy for those for Christmas because they are beach towels, so it'll be a great gift. And because I won't be able to decide with 6 children between us who gets what bag, I'm going to put them all in the same. I'm just going to make a calico bag for their Christmas gift, and then I'm just going to close my eyes and pick one out because otherwise I'll fuss over who's getting what bag. And that will really frustrate me. So I'm just going to be really, really vigilant that I don't know who gets which bag because they're all gorgeous and I don't think anybody will mind. I think they'll be really, really handy. So this is all you do to join all your pieces together. Now, you cut 1 3/4 inch strips for your bindings. So all of these are 1 3/4 inch strips, and when you start cutting them out, you can cut these ones here to the same length as your bag. So you'll be cutting 4 1.5 strips. Now what you're going to do is you're going to sew them. They're all right side to right side, and it really doesn't matter which way you do it, whether you do it from here or from here, because I'm going to top stitch it to the right side. So just whichever way this is sitting up, just sit this on top. You need to do one thing. Put your needle position, 1 click to the left, so you're going to cover the first row of stitching. It's all you do. So this one was 2 clicks to the right, and now it's 1 click to the right. So I've gone 1 click to the left from where I was, and I'm going to sew straight down here. So there's no, I'm just covering over my row of stitching. Yes, you could sew this all at once, but you are better to do this if you haven't worked with this laminated fabric before, so that you know you're going to get it really straight. And you might not be able to see, but you actually, if I hold that up, I have ruled my lines to make sure that this is cut really straight, or use your cutters and your rulers, because it's really important that this is really, really even. So now I'm going to sew here. If you feel more comfortable, you can sew on this side to make sure you are sewing it straight. I don't have to worry because I know that my foot is going to be exactly right and it's going to be in the right position. But if you're worried, you can sew up the other way. Okay, I put my needle position 1 click to the left, and it's going to cover my first row of stitching, so I do not need to worry. So now I just sew down all my raw edges even, my foot running along my raw edge. And you are going to do every binding on your bag exactly the same. So I'm only going to cover this binding, and then I'm going to show you how to put the base in a bag, because they're all identical. So there's step number 2. Oh, cut. Now I'm going to show you this so you know how to fold it. All you do is get your binding, lay your work, so your binding's the only thing out. You cannot iron this because it will melt. So you get your clips, and all you do is just fold in 3 mils, I suppose it is. So just turn under 3 mils and then fold it over, covering your stitching line, and put a clip. If you put the clip up that way, it will hold it nice and flat. So that's the right side of the clip there, and I've turned it up that way. So I'm going to be sewing on the right side, so turn it up and fold it, and I do the middle and I do the end like that, and then I come back in here. So no ironing obviously, but you don't have to worry because it folds beautifully. And then I go to the other end. And clip it, and then one more. You don't have to do a whole lot. Oops, don't fold it too much or it won't be the same width. So you want it all to be the same width, and you can measure that if you like. I've made a few of these now, I do not need to measure it. But you're just covering over your stitching line. Now, yes, you could leave your normal foot on that you've already got on, but Bernina have this wonderful edge stitch foot. So this is my normal walking foot, and this is my edge stitch foot that I can put onto my normal walking foot, so I can run it along here and move my needle position and get a perfect edge stitch. So I like to use that. Okay, so you just unscrew the little screw here, and you can buy these separately as long as you've got a screw to take this one off. You can buy the edge stitch foot separately, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. So there's a lug on this side, there's 2 little lugs on that side, and all you have to make sure is that they line up together. So that one goes on that one. Undo it a bit more, just unscrew it, and don't unscrew it completely. Make sure you have got it on, fit onto the lugs. It's so easy. I make it look so easy, don't I? Where's my little luggies? Oh, they're way down there, miles away. Right, once you've got that clicked in, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I do need to use more muscle. Oh, there we go. I felt it. So it's got to clip into that. One moment, please. There we go. Just make sure that it is on right, and it will tighten up. Oh, this screw is very tight. I've done something. It feels right, but it's not down in there. One moment, please. This is what you don't do. Maybe you put the other side on first. I try not to break it. Isn't that funny? I've never had problems putting one of these on ever, ever, ever in my life. And this is just not sitting down, and it is my foot. Ah, there we go. Just needed a bit of brute force that I didn't have. That's better. You can feel straight away when your screw clicks in and you know your foot's on. And this piece here must go over your needle bar. So if that doesn't go over your needle bar, it's not going to walk your foot. So now after that little mission, which was not supposed to be a mission at all, I put this over the needle bar and up under the foot. Needle bar screw. Thank you very much. Now I like to put my thread down through my foot because there's no opening. So I push my heel of my sewing foot down once of my foot pedal. I push it to bring it up. I lift my foot up and I use something like this just to slide my needle thread through there so I know it's all in one place. Now I'm going to top stitch all the way down here, and the idea of the bar is it runs along my folded edge and I put my needle position to the right. So I want to lengthen my stitch out because I'm top stitching, so I go to 3 or 3.5 and I'm going to actually clear it, lengthen it out, and then I'm going to put my needle position 1, 2 clicks to the right so that it's going to top stitch and cover up my stitching that I've already done. So here's the idea. The bar of the walking foot goes down beside your folded edge. You've got your needle position, 2 clicks over. That's not going to be enough. 4 clicks over is perfect for that foot. Now can you see I'm going nice and slow so you can see the bar is running along that edge. I'm just going to lift that up and flatten that down. All right, and you just bring it down and top stitch it. So the walking foot is very handy because it's got all these little added extras you can get for it. And it makes life nice and easy. The normal number 10 foot looks exactly the same but on a smaller version, and that's what I use for edge stitching on all my cotton work. So it's just a bigger version of the number 10 foot. Okay, that's all it is, but it just has the beauty of being able to walk the fabric as well. So it is very, very good. Took the clips out too soon, but that's all right. I can fold it and hold it. But the clips are your best friend because you really cannot pin. I'm going to show you the Teflon foot next for sewing in the base, just so you can see both the feet. So you're going to do exactly the same thing to every single seam. So all you're doing is edge stitching. Can you see that? All right. And then on the back, it's also edge stitched at the right distance as well. So you're going to do that to every single seam, and it's going to look like, here's one I prepared earlier, like this one here. So I have done my binding on my side seams, my other side seam, and my back. Then I have bound the whole top edge of my bag. Okay? Your bag now looks like this. So now I need to put my base in. So what I want to do is I want to put right side to right side, and I'm just going to use this little foot so I can show you the Teflon foot as well. And I'm going to do my 1 centimetre seam. So I'll need to, oh, I don't want that colour thread, do I? I need to put black thread on. And with a 1 centimetre seam, I know on my machine it is this mark here. so I can clear it, put it back to centre needle position, change my white thread to black, my white bobbin to black, and use that as my guide. So the base is exactly the same width, obviously, as your bag. So it's very, very easy pattern, and I have given you the size of that pattern, and you can adjust it to any size bag you want to make. Now the little studs that I've used, you can buy these online from AliExpress or one of those places, and you get all these coloured little plastic poppers, and these are super, super strong, and they're very, very reasonable, and they come with the tool, so these are brilliant. So I will probably put that purple one on there, and I'm going to show you how they work. They are very, very good, and I just think it's quite nice to put those on to make it a bit smaller, you know, tighter. So here's what you're going to do. I have put these side seams towards the outside, so I want these to go towards the outside. So the first thing I do is put a clip here so they're all facing the same way. You see, like that. Simple little thing, but it's really important that you do it the same. I love this one. I actually want to keep this one, but I won't, because I should make myself one though, because they are nice. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to stitch between here and here. So I get my base and I put a couple of clips in, just centering that. You don't really need to go measuring it, because you know it's exactly the same size. Oh no, I don't want to put right size together. I want to put, sorry, nearly did it wrong size together, because remember we're going to bind them. If you don't want to bind them, you can put right side together, but we do want to bind it because it looks really nice. And you certainly do not need to. You can just put right sides together and zigzag it. But I like finishing it off, and so it makes it really, really, really strong. I just think the binding looks really, really nice. So, and you know what's neat about this fabric? It's very, very soft and very pliable. So it's very, very easy to sew. But I just want to show you how you do a corner, and then you'll be all sorted. It's very easy. Okay, so I'm going to start here. So you do not you do not pin the whole thing, obviously, because you can't. You've got to just do it in stages. And I'm going to use my thread up on there. And I hold the thread till I've threaded it all the way to here when I'm ready to do the needle. And then I know that it's nice in the tension and it's nice and tight. Okay, and cut your thread. So remember to work out from your needle which line is your 1 centimetre line, and I know it's this one here. All right, so that line there that I'm going to follow is my 1 centimetre from my needle line, and that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so I'm going to stitch from here, and I'm just going to put my foot down, and I don't need to worry because I know that's going to be exactly the right width. You've got so many wonderful markings on your machine and people just don't use them. Now this is the most important thing. I do this on all my cushions. I do this on when I'm making piping. It's exactly the same method. So what you do is you sew down to where you need to do your 45-degree turn. So wrong side to wrong sides, or if you want right side to right side. Maybe I should have left the white thread on. You might have seen it better. So when I get to where I'm going to be turning my work, if I turn this over, can you see this is coming right up, covering my binding? It's coming to here, and I'm going to stop there. So I'm going to stop before I need to turn, all right? So you need to stop about the 10 mils, basically. You want a really nice sharp pair of scissors now. Keep your raw edges together. So I'm stopping there. Oops, I went too far. 1, 2. Really sharp pair of scissors, and you're going to lift your foot up and you're going to cut across like this just to where your needle is, and you're only cutting your bag, not your base. And I would go right through there. So nice sharp cut. Lift, turn the underneath like that. Oh, I do need to clip the underneath of this one. Just clip it to the needle so it turns, that's better. And then I'm on an angle. I'm going to do 1, 2, 2 long stitches, lift, clip, and turn. So what you're doing is you're making it, can you see that? Sorry. There. So I've done 1 clip, 2 stitches, 2 clips, and then I've turned it all the way, and now I can put it flat and do my 1 centimetre seam. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this, just put my clip in here to the next part so I know that it's nice and flat, and I'll show you another corner. So straight down here, when I get to a bit further I'll bring that out and show you what I've done there. Right, so you can see I've done, cut that little hairy bit off. I've done 1 clip here, a couple of stitches, and another clip here, so that it splays around. Now what I'm going to do here before I sew my binding on is I'm going to trim and trim, so that when you put the binding on you won't have a big bulk there, okay? And it just goes around beautifully anyway because it just stretches around. It's amazing. So I'll show you again. So I've got my hand underneath here holding my bottom piece nice and flat, and I'm going to stop there. Make sure that's to the right. Stop. Okay. Lift my foot up, clip, and I'm going to clip both pieces because I clipped one before, but I actually need to clip both. Turn my base. So I'm turning my base on an angle, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, and I'm going to lift my foot up, and I'm going to clip again, and then I'm going to turn. So there we go. So now I'm turning all the way around, and it's just so soft, it just works. It's brilliant. Get all your fabric out of the road. Bring your pieces down. Now at this stage I'm doing my nice long piece. I get my clips and I re-clip all the way to the other end, because now you've got your bag and you can do that. So now you're clipping, and what I do is I just bring this, put it to my clip there, and I just clip in between. So it's super, it just works. It's super easy. But if you don't want to bind it, you can just put right side to right side, stitch around it, and then zigzag it or overlock it. You can even overlock it, it won't hurt. It's nice and strong, but it's so easy to work with because it's pliable. Lift my foot up, make sure it's flat, that's perfect. Okay, so I quite often will put my hand inside my bag just to keep that underneath straight, because remember I'm using the Teflon foot, not the walking foot. The walking foot feeds it, and now I can hold it front and back. Once I started, and hold it front and back. Okay, I'll stop there, and I'll just show you this corner. So there's my clips, and then I just trim around that corner to take away the bulk. Okay, like that. Now to put the binding on this one, it's going to be exactly the same, and when you do your binding for your top, you join it just nice and flat, so you have got one long piece of binding. So you've already joined it, and this is 1 3/4 inches wide. Now for this binding, I like to sew from the base around and top stitch it on the right side. So all I do is leave a nice big tail to join the other end, and I sew from this side. But again, if you want to sew from the other side so you can see your stitching, that's fine, but I don't need to, because I'll just put my needle position together. And this I pretty much treat like a curve, so I don't you know, I don't do a corner, I just treat it like a curve. So when I'm coming up, I just turn it and I do one click, not two. One clip, not two. So it's not too bad. It's pretty darn easy. And you can pin this one pretty much, I clip this one all the way around. So I usually clip the whole thing with my, you know, these things, clips, not clipping as in trimming. So it's nice and easy. So they're actually quick to make. They're just repetitive, very repetitive. So you do the same thing all the time. Very, very easy. And because it's pliable, you won't have any problem and you won't get any tucks. So it's very, very soft. So here's my base. And I will turn this one over so you can have a look. This is from the wrong side to the right side. So if you have a look there, the wrong side to the right side. Now this one was one of the first ones I did. Made a mistake, I forgot to lengthen my stitch out. So when you do your top stitch, you want to lengthen it out. Those stitches are far too close. All right, so lengthening the stitch out makes all the difference. Now remember, I've got this foot on and I've already done a seam on the 1 centimetre. I'm going to keep following the 1 centimetre, but I'm going to put my needle position over so that it's a wider stitch, so that I'm covering my row of stitching. Okay, and I'm just going to do a couple of corners to show you, and you'll be able to go and make these for Christmas presents or for yourself. So you can use this foot or the walking foot. The walking foot definitely feeds it a little bit easier, but it's really not a problem. Okay, so coming up to my corner. Just treat it like a pretty much a straight piece. Just stitch up to it as far as you can before you turn it. And the fabric is so pliable, you can just push it around that corner. And with this, make sure you've got your base not tucked under, which I just have. There we are. And just bring it. Now when I get to that very, very corner part, there, there's my trusty clippers. I just lift it up and I clip only my binding so that it turns. There you go, that's all you need to do, just clip your binding. Done. Too easy. And carry on. And there you have how you do your bindings. Now to top stitch this, people go, oh, but it's going to be really hard, but it is not. It's exactly the same. So here's your binding, and you just push it down. So just push it down like that. And when this rolls over, it'll just simply roll over naturally. It's crazy good. See, it just rolls over naturally. So you don't have to worry about it being hard. It just rolls over and makes your corner. It's very, very good. And it's all to do with that little clipping. And then you clip it. I've got to stop saying the same word. You use your binding clips to clip and hold it in place, and then you top stitch it. So you're just top stitching, sewing, top stitching, sewing. It's very, very easy. Let's see how it just does it. It's really, really good. And then just top stitch it flat and treat it like a flat edge. Okay. And that is how you do it. So if I go and top stitch that now, that little piece there, I would want my edge stitch foot on. So edge stitch foot. And onto here, lengthen it out, because don't make the mistake I did. You want to lengthen it out. So foot down once, foot up. Oops, have a long tail. Clip that behind there. Down, up, lift. Make sure you use something to get your thread underneath, then you don't have to worry. First thing you should do is clear your machine, put your needle position to the center, lengthen your stitch out and then move it to the right so that you have started in the center and then you're top stitching to the right. So when I top stitch this, I am putting it down. I have got my edge stitch foot bar beside my folded edge here, and my needle position is coming over to cover it. So on this one I decided 4 clips to the right's perfect. I've lengthened it out. I'm going to 3.3 because obviously it needs to be longer because the fabric's sticky. I hold it and I stitch it. And when I come to the corner, I flatten it. You just flatten it down with your finger. It's soft and pliable. It's brilliant. So just flatten it down. Rearrange. So rearrange it, flatten it down. And if you need to, use something like this to push it down. And then just keep sewing. Lift it up. Rearrange it round that corner, make sure you don't knock everything down. And then I use something to just flatten it and then go down. It's so soft, you won't even believe it. They're beautiful. And I really do think they've changed. I don't think it was as soft as pliable as this beforehand. So by doing this method, what happens is, I'll just cut that thread. You get a really nice corner, and so what we've done is we've done this seam into this corner, and I've also done it here. So it gives you just a really nice corner. I like them. Now because I've got 2 ends like this and this, if I left it like this, that's a really big bag. So I chose to fold my bag in like this and to put a stud to hold it. But before you do that, you need to put on your handles. So what I've done with the handles, made life really, really easy, is I've got the poly prop, and the length is the same length as your bag, and you need to take off your sellotape end and you need to burn it with a lighter or a match because poly prop needs melting to seal. So you just simply burn the end and let it melt. Just get rid of that furry bit. Straighten it up like that. I've done the other end. Yep, done the other end. And I've done this end and I've stitched this end. Now, so I burnt these ends, they're going to be turned under. Here's my one here. I burnt this end and this is going to be my handle. So you can see I've sewn one lot of the handles on and I need to sew this one on. So this here, is that the right, that's that the right side? Yep, that's the right side there. So these are the wrong sides facing up so you can see it. So this one here needs to go onto here. But what I did was I stitched it like this and then folded it up so it made it really, really strong. So I need this to be exactly the same distance or else I won't be able to hold my handles. So you just simply pick up your handle, and I've given you the measurements for this, and I'm going to straight stitch across here, then I'm going to turn it up and I'm going to top stitch it. You do not want to top stitch it where you have burnt it because it will break your needle. It's very, very firm. So you want to stitch it down below where you've burnt it. You want to turn it up and you want to top stitch it above where you've burnt it. Okay? So you don't break a needle. All right? So that, I'll just double check that's exactly the right width. Yeah. So I'm going to, I've stitched one for you and I'm going to do white on my other one, and I'll show you. So burn it, no matter what happens, burn it. How did I learn that? I made a backpack, I sewed the polyprop on, and it all pulled away because it just can't hold it. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm just going to put this on so you can see. And I'm going to clear it because remember it's on a really, really, really long stitch. And I'm going to straight stitch across my polyprop handle, and I'm going to reverse. And then I'm going to straight stitch and reverse, and I'm going to lock it off, cut it off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my handle up, and I'm going to stitch above where I have burnt it, so up here. And I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm going forward and reverse, and forward and reverse. You want this very, very strong, okay? Oop, wrong button. Now you can sew it onto the top of your bag, and all I did was I just got the inside of my bag. This is the right side, this is the wrong side. I lay it on here and I turn under my burnt end and I clip it and top stitch this all the way around. So there, down and around. So turn it under and top stitch it, and that is how I did my handles. It was very, very easy and cheaty because I like easy, but very, very strong. And the ladies were very pleased I made a mistake on the first one, and one handle was stitched in one way and one the other, but the person getting it, if they know, if they recognise that, then good luck to them, because you'd have to really be a sewer to know what I mean. So this handle, this is the wrong side, so that should have been facing the other way. Will I undo it? I don't think so. And this one, this is the right side. So I did that one right and I did that one wrong. So be it. So here's my studs. I just fold them in and put a little stud on like that, and it just makes my bag smaller. And then at the end of the day, when you've got everything in there, you've got your lovely big bag. Now this would be good for snowboarding. This bag would be good for camping, to put all your washing in at the end of a camping trip. It would be great for a day at the lake. It would be great for a day at the beach. I think they're just really, really cool. And I think all the family that get these for Christmas are going to be pretty happy. So that is how you sew that on. Now to do your little stud, I'm going to show you. They are very, very easy. And you have a male and a female. So the male ones are exactly the same. They are plain on one side, and they've got their little Sharpie point there, and then you have this one and this one. So this one clips into here. So all you do is you, oh, I forgot to get my awl out, that's all right. I'll just use this sharp end of a scissor. That'll do the same thing. Just make a hole. You can't do it unless you make a hole. And by the way, it likes to close up, so do it quite quickly. And you place your stud through there. See, it does. It's very strong, this stuff. Use your muscles. Right, so there's that in. And then all you do is place your stud on the other side. Open this up. Go into here and push down. I don't buy many things online. This is the best thing I've ever bought. And there you have your stud. Now you want this. Do you think they've done that the wrong way around? Excellent. This is supposed to be like, oh yeah, wrong way around. Can we get these off? They're pretty strong. Okay, if anyone's going to show you how not to do it, oh, I don't even know if you can get them off. This will be interesting. This is a lesson in what not to do. I'm good at that, aren't I? I can tell you something. These are not coming off lightly. Oh dear. I'll give it a go. I don't like my chances. Oh yeah, I've broken it, so that's a good start. I don't know if I can get it off though. Told you they were good. Okay, I think I'm going to do the other side and get my husband to do that. Let's show you again, shall we? Let's work out which way we want them to go. We want them to stud, so we want the big side in here. Should we try that again? So stud in here. I did have a lady ask me why I don't edit my videos. Well, what fun would that be? You wouldn't get me to see me making all my mistakes. So the big stud on the inside and the other stud on the right side. Should we remember that? And then make sure it's sitting flat, and then open up your machine, put it in like so, and then give it a squeeze. One. Now this one is going, where are we? Right here. So we are going to put a hole in there and put our big side on the inside, now that we remember that. So normally I use my awl, but I just didn't have it there for some strange reason. And make sure you put the opposite piece on the inside so it actually does work. I haven't made a big enough hole. That's going to be a mission to get that off, because it actually, they are so strong. See, all is better because it makes a much better hole. These are really, really strong. They don't look it, but they are extremely strong. So I've got that side. I need the opposite one this time, so I need this side. I'm just making sure I don't make another mistake, because that would be just great. Push that on so you can see the base one comes right through like that. And then, oh, I've cut myself too. And then use this and go on and squeeze, and we have a stud that works. Excellent. There you go. And that just makes your bag that much smaller, which is, I think, is quite a good idea. So if you didn't want to have such a wide bag, this depth here could be even half, and you can make a narrower bag. But that is how you make your bags. They're fun. So put this on first, then do your studs, sew all around it, and you have got a bag. And that is your Christmas sewing all done. Now when we come back, I'm going to show you how to make this really, really cool braid out of all your scraps of fabric. And if you don't want to make that, you can cover your old wire coat hangers with your old fabric, because I promise you I'm going to show you what to do with all your scraps of fabric. So that is coming up in a minute.